everybody, and welcome to Dining for Women's Google Hangout. I am Veena Khanke. I am the Interim Program Director for Dining for Women. Today, we are going to speak with a representative of Bumi Sehat from Bali, Indonesia. And Bumi Sehat is the feature program for the month of October. We have with us Erin Ryan, who is the International Coordinator for Medical Volunteers. Bumi Sehat offers free medical clinics in Bali, in Aceh, and also for a refugee population in the Philippines. They offer culturally appropriate care, medical care for pregnant women, and offer a very appropriate, kind, gentle way for childbirth. So, Erin, why don't you go ahead and tell us more about this program?
Okay, I'm going to get my slideshow up for you. All right. And can you see that? Can you see my slideshow, Veena?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay, thank you. My name is Erin Ryan, and I worked as a midwife at the Bumi Sehat clinic for 2.5 years. Bumi Sehat is in Bali, Indonesia. It's a free clinic, like Veena said, with a medical clinic, acupuncture, and homeopathy, but our focus is on our birthing clinic. Bumi Sehat is the only free clinic in Indonesia. We ask for donations, but no one is turned away if they cannot pay. Bumi was founded by Robin Lim. Robin Lim is a mother, a midwife, and a poet. After her sister and baby tragically died from a complication of pregnancy, Robin was devastated. But I decided not to get angry, she said. I decided to become a part of the solution. If I could even help one family prevent the loss of a mother or child, I would do that. I would dedicate my life to it. And she has. 25 years ago, she moved to Bali, one of 13,000 islands which makes up Indonesia. The maternal mortality rate was staggering. 650 women per 100,000 were dying in childbirth. Indonesia is still a developing country, with most of its 250 million people living in poverty, and over 700 languages are spoken. Women are still dying in childbirth. Robin wanted women to live and care for their babies. She wanted them to have access to safe birth, but safe was not enough. She wanted women to be treated with love and respect. Women come for many reasons to Bumi Sehat. Safe birth, water birth, free birth. Women come from all over Indonesia and all over the world to give birth at Bumi Sehat. The midwives are the guardian of safe and loving birth. This sets Bumi Sehat apart. And what do we do that is so different? We offer prenatal care and we encourage women to ask questions. We have prenatal yoga classes, creating community and educating families. We support families to be involved in birth. This father was really nervous to be in a room, so we gave him the job to hold his wife. And first, that prevented him from escaping if he got scared, and it allowed him to welcome his third baby into the world. You can see his kids stayed too, and it was really wonderful. We offer water birth, where women can relax and sink into the water and ease their babies out. We have gentle birth. Women can feel safe in labor. They don't need to be afraid they'll be yelled at, hit, or treated badly. Women can stay after their baby is born to heal and learn to breastfeed. We know that breastfeeding within an hour of birth will kickstart children's immune systems, making them 3 times more likely to survive. Sadly, these things are not the norm in Indonesia or in the world. Women are bullied, they're cut, and they're traumatized by their births. Women want better for themselves and for their babies. This is Raquel. Her first baby was born by cesarean, and she came to Bumi Sehat because she wanted a natural birth. It's very hard to find a doctor that will support a vaginal birth after cesarean. She traveled for 2 days from Papua, which is a remote and distant part of Indonesia. She arrived with her 2-year-old son, and about 3 days later, her water broke, but no contractions. She came to the clinic and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. For 3 days she waited, and she and her son made a lot of friends at the clinic, but no labor. She had acupuncture, massage, herbs. She consulted with doctors, and the midwives monitored her day and night. Never once did she waver from her commitment, and never once did the midwives suggest she couldn't do it. We waited with her. Towards the end of the third day, she went into labor all on her own and had a beautiful birth surrounded by singing and laughing midwives. Cesarean is costly and more dangerous than a vaginal birth for healthy women. Costs are high. A C-section can cost between $150 and $900, with the average salary in Indonesia being closer to $200 per month. And babies are not released from the hospital until that bill is paid in full. If a Bumi Sehat patient needs a cesarean, we make sure she can pay, and we make sure she's breastfeeding before she goes home. This is Ibu Yeni. She came from the island of Sumatra. This was her second baby. She came in labor. We had never seen her before. She was silent in her labor. She barely responded when we spoke to her, and we weren't sure if she actually spoke Indonesian at all. She had a fast labor, and we treated her just like all the birthing mothers, gently and with smiles and singing as the baby was born. After the birth, I really wanted to tell her that I thought she did a great job, and I didn't care if she understood me. I just wanted her to understand the feeling I was conveying. But before I could speak, she took my hand and whispered, "Thank you for being so nice to me." I was so surprised and I was so touched. It was such a beautiful reminder of the impact of kindness. She was treated very badly at the hospital, yelled at, not allowed to breastfeed. But the reason she came to Bumi Sehat was because it was free, and she got so much more. Women want and deserve more than a safe birth. They deserve respect and love in their labors and birth. They deserve to be surrounded by their families. They deserve to be given the right to make choices. One April day, we had 7 mothers give birth. 3 came from Russia and 4 from Indonesia. They all enjoyed seeing each other's babies, supporting each other to breastfeed, and laughing together. We don't want women to have to travel for a gentle birth. Robin has written a book specifically for midwives on gentle birth and breastfeeding. She teaches the skills on how to support women in labor. She shows midwives how to be kind to a woman in labor. It seems obvious, but it isn't if you haven't seen it done. All the midwives at Bumi Sehat teach 1 to 3 times a week. Groups like this, huge groups of midwives that travel to Bumi Sehat wanting to know a better way to care for women. And it is because of Dining for Women that we can do this great work. Thank you, Dining for Women. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the grant. The midwives, thank you. The mothers, thank you. And the babies, thank you. We ask that you keep supporting Bumi Sehat, and it's super easy because Amazon has a new program, and every time you shop, they will donate a portion to us. So just sign up at smile.amazon.com, choose Bumi Sehat as your organization, and keep the smiles, keep the mama's smiles and the baby's smiles in mind, and continue supporting peace on earth. As Robin Lim always says, peace on earth begins with birth. Thank you, Vina. Not sure if you have questions for me, but I could answer those now.
Yes, I do. I'm waiting to see you. Okay, there you are. I was going to ask you, how does your clinic manage the whole issue of women who are traveling to your clinic when some of them are arriving there just hours before they give birth? So you don't have the history, and in a sense, you're shooting from the hip at that point. So you just go with it?
When women show up in labor, we just go with it, but we do still screen them at that point, taking their blood pressure and making sure they're as healthy as we can know. The women that travel from very far, like from Russia or Italy or Germany, they tend to come a few weeks before their baby's born, and that gives us a chance to get to know them and work with them a bit. The women that come from different parts of Indonesia don't always come early because they can't afford to come stay in the village and miss time at work. So they generally come really close to their due date or already when they're already in labor.
Okay. So do your midwives or any of your nursing staff, do they do some follow-up visits if it's a local mom?
After the baby is born, we really, really strongly encourage women to stay at least 3 days. That first 3 days, we make sure their milk comes in, they know how to breastfeed, they're really confident in breastfeeding. Once they go home, if they've traveled from, say, Russia, we still continue to do home visits over the next few weeks and invite them to come back to the clinic to check the baby, weigh the baby, and meet with a doctor if they like. Most of the women stay a while after they give birth. It's rare that anyone would leave quickly after they gave birth and travel a long distance. There's a lot of respect in Bali and some of the surrounding islands that women shouldn't really leave their home for 42 days after they give birth. I think that's pretty common in a lot of places in the world, other than America, where we're out shopping on day 3. And so women tend to stay nearby, and we do have a chance to continue taking care of them.
Okay. So does the organization, in a sense, do any kind of education for, women before they become mothers, kind of informing them about these are our services, this is what is good for you. So in a sense, you're preempting it or creating cultural change.
Most of our moms come when they're pregnant. You saw the yoga room. It was stuffed with women, and that's where we do a lot of our education. Sometimes there's so many women, they'll share a yoga mat, which I just can't even imagine anyone doing in America. Nobody here even likes a yoga mat's touching their yoga mat, but they'll actually share a yoga mat. They start coming as soon as they're pregnant, and we give vitamins at every appointment, and we just give enough vitamins so that when they run out, they know to come back. So that keeps women coming back because they want the prenatal vitamin, and then they want that once they start coming and see the care they get, they want the information in the community. So we do a lot of education through their pregnancy. We also offer lab testing now. We have a new laboratory at Bumi Sehat, and we can test everyone for HIV, check their iron levels, and make sure they're healthy.
Yes, this is absolutely wonderful, all that you're offering at your clinic, because even in the so-called developed world, we're having to re-teach breastfeeding to moms. So it's trying to get through that cultural divide of what's traditional but good, and then getting modern medicine involved in it too. Can you discuss and talk about the role of the traditional healers? Is it always a plus when you work with them, or is it somewhat of a challenge?
In Bali, it used to be that women named Dukanbais delivered all of the babies. But in Bali, there's been a huge push to train midwives, to send them to universities. In fact, there's an overabundance, some people say, of midwives in parts of Indonesia. But much of Indonesia, like Aceh, where we have our other clinic, the Dukanbais are still delivering the babies, and they're delivering the babies at home. So what we've done in Aceh is we've done some trainings with the midwives to give them more skills, and we've given them hand phones or cell phones so that they can call for help if they need help. They can call our clinic and we'll send an ambulance and a midwife to help them in a bad situation. People in Bali still believe in traditional medicine. They believe in the connection of spirit medicine with physical medicine. They're not shy of Western medicine. They like Western medicine, but they see the value of seeing both. If we at Bumi Sehat in Bali see a need for someone to see a traditional healer, we don't hesitate at all to recommend that they do that. We don't recommend a specific healer because people want to go to the healer that's in their village because that would be most comfortable for them.
Good. Well, how exactly do you interface with the modern hospital that may be in the town or the village and the doctors? I mean, can you offer a C-section if it's necessary?
We do not do C-sections at Bumi Sehat. We can get to someone to a hospital within 5 to 7 minutes in our ambulance if there's an emergency. It's very rare that there's a flat-out 911 type of emergency. When birth unfolds naturally, and that is without drugs to make the labor happen or drugs to make the pain stop, you see less variation in the baby's health, even in women who aren't as healthy as, say, women here in America. Most of our transports are the labor just isn't happening. She needs a C-section because for some reason the baby is just not coming. So it's not this. You could probably walk to the hospital, the baby still wouldn't come. So we take women to the hospital. We stay with women at the hospital. We make sure that they're treated well. We make sure their babies aren't taken away and that they can breastfeed. And we make sure that they can pay their hospital bill. As I mentioned in the PowerPoint, if they can't pay their hospital bill, they aren't allowed to go home with their baby, which clearly disrupts breastfeeding and possibly and continue. Their bill just keeps going up because the baby stays there and generates fees. So even if someone transports to the hospital, we continue taking care of them. We have a good relationship with our local doctors because we do respect what they do, and we know that when we go to the hospital, we need their help. So they don't always like the way we want things done, but we always find a way together to get through.
Okay. Well, as you see yourself moving forward, can you tell us how exactly the free clinic works in terms of, I know that some of your patients do pay if they can afford it. You are getting very popular around the world and more people are coming to you. So we are really happy to partner with you for the month of October. But as you plan into the future, I mean, where do you see all this going? How do you fund yourselves?
Well, we do have a lot of people make donations and pay for their own birth. Like I said, we don't require that anyone pays. People are asked to pay what they can. So sometimes they might give as little as $5, and sometimes they might give quite a few $100s. Foreigners that come, or even people that come from Java that are university educated, they might pay almost up to $1,000. So our model is not completely dependent only on sole fundraising. Robin does spend a lot of time fundraising. She is constantly putting the word out, and we're supported by a lot of smaller organizations within Bali. But it is a great challenge for us because Robin is committed that we remain by donation only. She will not require people to pay. So we will always be doing a little bit of the fundraising game. But as the word gets out, and especially after Robin won CNN Hero, we have more people interested in our clinic. We have more people who want to know how we're doing it and could we come there and help them. And I think there are lots more opportunities for us to continue becoming more and more sustainable.
Erin, thank you so much for sharing time with us today. We want to wish Bumi Sehat all the good luck, good wishes coming to you, and thank you once again. Thank you everybody for joining us at this Google Hangout, and we will see you again next month. Thank you.
Thank you.